Man, I had not been locked up before in no jail, so it was all new to me. It was all green to me. I had, a couple of family members, a couple of people that I knew that had been incarcerated. I had actually even visited a prison one time with my aunt, to, see my cousin or whatnot. But I had, never really been in jail in those type of environments, that type of situation. So it was new to me, man. So when I got locked up and I ended up in the jail, man, it was crazy because, that first night when you in there, I know for me anyway, that reality set in, man, when them doors close and them bars is around you and you on this cold bed, this little thin piece of plastic, and you realizing the reality come to your head, man, how bad you done really messed up. How bad you done really messed up. And in my case, the things and the situation and the charges that I was facing, it was just like, it was surreal. It was surreal, man. And to sleep in there that first night and to have the feelings and the emotions going through me, I barely got any sleep at all. I barely got any sleep at all. I'm in a new environment. I'm in a new atmosphere. I could hear other people snoring, other people talking. It's cold. It's just dense in there, man, and it was just crazy. It's a feeling that's in my heart. I never forget it. But like in any other situation, you got to learn how to cope, adapt, and adjust, man. So I tried my best to do that. I tried to get my mind frame right. Like, I don't know none of these cats in here. I think the jail I was in, at the time I was in Chesterfield jail, and it was like maybe 6, 7 cells in there. And each person had an individual cell. It was a small block, small jail. And we came out in the morning, ate breakfast. They bought us breakfast. We ate breakfast. They let us out in the block. We could mingle around. They had one phone in there, which definitely became a problem. They had one phone in there. You always had dudes in there that, felt like they was entitled. You had dudes in there that felt like they was the boss, all of that. So this is my introduction to being incarcerated. So I don't know nobody. I ain't trying to know nobody. I'm in my own feelings. I'm feeling lost because I'm locked up. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. I got it in my mind that, I don't want to know none of these cats. I don't care nothing about none of them. I'm sure they don't care nothing about me. So I stayed to myself. I started working out. I work out in the cell. The block was small. I used to see a couple of dudes out there working out, and everybody, was watching TV for the most part during the daytime, or just sitting around playing cards or talking or whatnot. We had to take a long newspaper and roll it all up and make a long stick where we could take and reach out between the bars and turn the TV ourselves, so we wouldn't have to wait for the CO to come around and turn the TV. So they had their own little system and everything going on. And for the most part, I just sit back and watch and try to learn and see how everything moved and how everything operated, because I ain't know nobody, or nor did I know anything. So that's what I did, man. And I'm gonna tell you, the jail, it was an experience for me, man. It was a different experience for me, man, because like I say, every day you wake up, first day, second day, third day, fourth day, the reality set in on you that, number one, you don't like where you at. Number two, you can't do nothing about it and you want to go home so bad. Then you worried about everything that's going on the outside and you can't do nothing about it. The only avenue you got is to find out what's going on is through the telephone. And then, like I say, the telephone was just like it is in prison, which I would later find out. The telephone is an avenue for controversy and destruction. Everybody want the phone, and it's only one phone, but it's like 6 or 7 people, and everybody can't get the phone. So everybody trying to regulate the phone. Everybody trying to dictate who gonna use the phone, when they gonna use the phone. Dudes is trying to say don't use the phone too long. I gotta make a call at this time. I gotta make a call at that time. So it's just automatically chaos off the top. Now, it looked like to me, the block that I was in, the first block that I was in, everybody in there, looked like they had been in there before. I look like the only green dude, the only dude that never been in there before, so I don't really know the dynamics of what's going on. Everybody else know what's going on. Everybody else got their own little system. So I'm trying to fit in. The main thing I want is the phone, because I'm just getting locked up. I'm missing my people. I'm definitely trying to talk to my people every day to see what's going on with my lawyer situation, see what's going on with my situation, and just to reach out to talk to somebody that's familiar with me. So I wanted that phone, man, and I tried to get in where I fit in. I was humble, at the first, who got the phone, la da 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 da. It was one dude in the block, he was from Richmond. I guess you would say he acted like he was the boss of the block. He acted like he ran everything. He had a little size on him. He worked out every day. He talked, all tough and everything. And dudes was giving him his respect. I could see that. It was an older white dude in the block. Older, I say older because of me. I want him like 20. So this dude probably was in his 30s. And you can definitely look at him and tell he done been in prison and been locked up many, many times. Not the stereotype, but that's what he looked like. That's what he talked like. That's what he act like. Because he wasn't a timid white dude. He wasn't scared by no means. And he walked around. So either the black dude or him was like the little, the bosses in the block. Which at the time, like I said, I ain't really care because it didn't affect me. And as long as it didn't affect me, it didn't even make me no difference. Because I already knew one thing. If I ain't know nothing else, I knew how to throw these things when it came down to it. So whatever they had going on, that's what they better have bought when it came to me. So like I said, I used to try to fit my way in on the phone. And to be honest with you, when I did get on the phone, I wasn't trying to get off. I would get on, I would call, I would talk, you know what I'm saying? I would get off at the time, I was married, I would call my wife, talk to my wife, get off the phone, call back, talk to again, call back, call my mother, call my sister. So I may be on the phone, man, back to back to back. So I could see dudes was starting to have attitude with it, was starting to get feeling a certain type of way about it, but they didn't really know how to approach me because they didn't know me and I didn't talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know nobody and I ain't want to know nobody. When I went on the phone or I went out there getting my tray or eating or whatever, I would be back in my cell trying to work out, get my mind right, get my thoughts and processes and everything right, because I ain't know what was to come or what I was going to be facing. So, man, as time went on, man, I could see they whispering, they looking at me funny about this phone. So I was out there one day and I get on the phone and as soon as I get ready to dial, oh boy, he pull up on me. He said, man, how long you going to be on the phone? So I just look at him I'm like, why? He said, because other people be trying to use the phone, man, and you on the phone, you be on the phone, too long, man. You be going back to back to back. We don't do that around here, man. You use the phone, you go ahead and use the phone, get off, man, let somebody else use it. So this is, I'm already looking at it like, I can see right now I'm going to have to set my tone in here. So I was trying to be cordial at first. I was like, look, bro, I'm going to use the phone whenever I got to use the phone and do whatever I got to do. I don't care about what nobody else doing or how they doing it or whatever. I'm going to use the phone when I got to use the phone, man, take care of the things I need to take care of. I got stuff going on. I'm trying to, I couldn't even get it out. He started, man, look, man, you ain't going to be hogging the phone. I'm telling you that right now. We got to use the phone to hear whatever, too. So, blink, I hang it up. I said, well, who going to stop me? He said, what you mean who going to stop you? I'm telling you, you ain't going to be using the phone. I said, look at here, man. Boop, 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 boop. Set him right on down off the rip, So I'm hitting him, and he ain't see this coming. I know he did. He got a little size on him and everything, but I know he ain't see it coming because when I take off, boom, bing, 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 and I drive him right on back to the corner. He hit the wall, dropped down to the ground. I kick him one time in the face, and he just a bloody mess down there. So I turn around right down there in the pod and say, anybody else trying to stop me from using the phone? So dudes is looking at me like, man, this little cat crazy, you know what I'm saying? So then the white dude I told you in there, he come out, he walking around, he looking all crazy, he got his hands in his pockets and everything. So dude laying down there bloody and everything, he, trying to get up, falling back down, trying to get up. So I'm like, yeah, ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing to do in here. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. Don't nobody tell me what to do. If you ain't the police, don't come trying to tell me what to do. I'm gonna use the phone whenever I want to use the phone. If you don't like it, do something about it. That's the approach I took off the rip. So man, Only person that I could really see that had little wind in his chest was the white dude. Cause I could see he done turned red. He walking around, he posting because old boy act like he ran the block, but he act like he ran the block. But they had some type of understanding where they got along with each other. So I don't know if he was feeling some type of way or not, but that's just what it was. I turn around, leave the phone alone, go back in the cell, cause I don't know what's going on. Ain't no weapons or nothing in there, so you know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking, I don't know if these cats gonna try to jump me. I don't know what they gonna do. I'm ready for whatever. So I'm in the cell, I'm pacing and I'm mad and I'm trying to see what's going on. Eventually, man, the police come around, they see old boy, he done got up, got to the bars, he bleeding, he bust up. They come around there, they tell everybody to go to their cell lockers in their cell. They take him out, they ask him what's happening. He said he don't know, he just want to go to medical. They take him to medical. They come in, go to East Cell, looking at dudes, trying to see, asking them what happened, who did it, whatever. Ain't nobody say nothing. I mean, I guess everybody know that from the streets anyway. You don't do no talking, you don't do no telling. And then, like I say, most of these cats in here look like they've been locked up before, so they already had to understand it. They won't say nothing. Then that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? When you get in a fight in the jail, at least the jail that I was in, they take you out whenever you had to go to medical or whatever. When you come back, they're going to put you in another block. So they end up moving him, put him in another block, brought another dude in there, and the same thing went, you know what I'm saying, went on the way it went on. And I just kept on using the phone, man, and truth be told, I was hogging the phone because I didn't want to get off. I'm new to this. I'm missing my people. I'm not liking my situation, so I'm new to it. So it wasn't even a couple of days later, man, and the white boy, I told dudes, I'm using the phone, man. I got to use the phone like at 9 o'clock. I said, I got to use the phone at 9 o'clock, man. So, because I had to make a call, I told my people I was going to call at 9. So I'm like, I got to use the phone at 9 o'clock, man. Don't nobody use the phone at 9, man. I'm trying to use it. Or if you do use, try to use it before 9. Give me enough time to use it at 9. So I had said that early that morning during breakfast time. So come 5, 10 minutes to 9, I come out the pod. So I'm out there, I'm waiting for the phone. I'm checking, looking, see what time it is. I see the white boy out there, he pacing and pacing, and he got his hands in his pocket. You know what I'm saying? So dude was on the phone at the time, but I'm waiting to see if he actually gonna get off the phone, because I definitely got to use it. So while I'm waiting for him to get off the phone, I see the white boy pacing, and you know, he got his little wind in his chest or whatever. So I asked the dude, man, I said, man, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to use it on. And he said, I got you. And here he come, he gonna speak up. He tell me something. I wouldn't get off the phone if it was me. Ain't nobody running no phone in here. So I say what? He said, I wouldn't get off the phone if it was me. Ain't nobody running no phone in here, man. So I said, man, F you, man. I said, you would get off for it if I had to get on it at 9 o'clock. I can tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? He said, no, I won't. He had a little stutter with him. He said, no, I won't. I said, wait, try to get on it at 9 o'clock and see what happened to you. He said, what's going to happen to me? And he started walking towards me. But he had his hand in his pocket. So I don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Because like I say, I'm green. So he walking towards me. He said, I use it when I want to use it. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as he get close enough to me, I'm getting ready to take off on him. This joker done pulled out. He got about 3 or 4 pencils all sharpened, and he got them taped up together, and he done pulled them out like he trying to stab me with the pencil. So I'm like, oh, whoa. So I bag up. He said, yeah, come on. So he started charging me. When he charged me, I just reached up and put my feet out, kicked him dead in the chest. Bam! When I kicked him in the chest, when he stumbled back, I just advanced on him and just pieced him up. Bam, 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 bam. Drove him on down to the ground, whooped him too. So while I'm whooping him though, the police come around. So when the police come around, hey, go to y'all cell, everybody go to your cell. They come bum rushing in there. I'm still whooping them. They jump on me. That's when I got my first experience about what the police do to you. Because they get me down after they subdue me and everything. They still trying to beat me and all this, which just fueled my fire. Now I'm beefing with them because I ain't letting nobody, man, it just was a crazy situation. But that's how it was in the jail. That was my introduction to the jail. Same block, 2 rumbers already. Yeah, same block, 2 rumbers already, man. So they get me out, man. They take me to a holding cell, man. They put me in a holding cell and everything. I'm screaming, I'm cussing, I'm mad, I'm irritated. You know, they talking stuff to me. Tell me something, yeah, you probably was the one that got to fighting with old boy too. I don't know where you think you at. You ain't gonna be bringing that stuff in this jail, right? We got some place for you. We're gonna keep you right here in the hole. Woo. First experience with segregation. I'm in a one little cell off to the side. where they can watch you. They put a little TV in front of your cell after a couple of days if they want to. And then you just in there with a bed and a toilet. You know what I'm saying? They got to come get you, take you out for the shower, all this and all that. They had me in there for a minute, you know, and then, like I say, with the charges I had and me going back and forth to court, now me fighting in there, so they looking at me a little different, you know. So I stayed back there for a minute, man. I don't know, it seemed like to me forever because I ain't never been in that type of situation before. But I probably stayed back there for about 30, 40 days, something like that. They take me out, they put me in another block. Man, I get in another block. It seemed like to me it's basically the same thing. Every block you go in, dudes acting like they run the block. Most beefs gonna come over either that telephone or either that TV. Dudes want to watch one station, dudes want to watch the other station. Dudes will get up there with the paper and try to change it. Another dude will grab the paper from him, or either as soon as he set it down, go get it, get up there, change the station back. Dudes get the rumbling over that. You know, dudes get the rumbling over the food on the tray. If you sleep when they bring the food in there and you don't get up when they call trays, dude might have took your tray. There's 7 dudes in there. It's gonna be 7 trays. You get up a little late, your tray gone. Dudes wanna know who ate the tray. Don't nobody wanna say nothing. Dudes gonna eat your tray if you don't get up. I don't care who you is. So it just was, you know, my introduction to prison, man, and jail, and I just was seeing all type of crazy stuff that I wasn't used to. Yeah, I ended up getting fighting with the dude in there too. I got fighting with him because him running his mouth, just saying something slick to me, you know, about the TV. They was voting on what channel to watch. I voted one way. He ain't like my vote. He want to say something to me. I said something to him. Bloop, bloop. And I'm dropping him, getting into it with him. So now it's like I'm building up a reputation in the prison like I'm a troublemaker, I'm a fighter. But to me, I ain't feel like that was the case. It was just like I just won't go on for nothing and I'm going to fight for whatever it is. What else can I do? You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting moved out of that block, same situation to the whole, that block, end up in another block, fighting, another block. It just went on and on. Whereas today left me back there in the segregation one time for a minute. You know, I knew that had to be a couple of months. They was talking trash to me, talking about, yeah, you know, you know what I'm saying? I can see where you going. I can see what's going to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third, la, 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 la. So they try to trick me, man, even in the jail early. So you learn the politics of what's going on with these people now. Because even early, man, they tried to trick me. They left me back there for that minute. Then I had already heard that they had a block that was kind of racist, where they just had the white dudes in there. The white dudes, it was white supremacists or Aryan Brotherhood at the time, which I didn't even know what that was, where it was just all racist white dudes, which you rarely see in a jail or a prison, you know what I'm saying, when it's just all white dudes. But that's what they had, all white dudes. And they knew that, and I guess they were so irritated and frustrated with me fighting and acting the way I was acting in there, they took me out the hole and put me in a block. They put me in a block with all the white dudes. And the CEO had a nerve to tell me, say, yeah, see how you like it in here. So I go up in the zone and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, you know what I'm saying? I see what this is. And off the top, I can see all the faces turn red. They looking at me like, you know, what you putting this joke in here for? And man, I wasn't even in there a good 30 minutes, man, for it was on, man. They just, you know, one of them said something to me, I said something back, got loud, and next thing you know, they all come out and they act like they just try to bum rush me. So I'm just swinging and swinging. They throwing books at me, Bibles, you know what I'm saying? So I'm basically fighting like 6 dudes. And they got me down on the ground now, and I'm just covered up and all this. They kicking me and stomping me. And the police come around, man, break the joint up, get me up out of there, man. I'm telling you right now, if I'd ever seen one of them cats again, boy, woo, Lord, yeah, man. But they ain't hurt me, you know what I'm saying? I basically protect myself, little bumps and bruises or whatever. But yeah, man, they try to set me up in the jail. So now I don't like them. I'm talking crazy to them. I'm cussing them out every day, you know. So all of this was in the jail, man. So I had a lot of frustration in me, a lot of irritation because of my situation that I brought upon myself. But I was trying to channel that energy, man, and it just was costing me, man. It was costing me all the way down the line because the way they was treating me, the way they was feeding me, man. They was putting a little bit of food on my tray, you know. They bringing my tray all late, you know. It just was a crazy situation, man. But it wasn't all bad because it was all learning experience, man. I started working out because I was seeing a lot of dudes in the jail that had been in prison before, man. They used to talk to me, tell me how I was in prison, all these names I was hearing about, like Sam Pitts and Bo Billy and all these crazy characters in prison, and how big these dudes was. And I was little, because I was boxing, so I wasn't wearing them like 140 something, 146, 147. And I'm trying to, get my weight up, man. I was lifting weights. We was working out with makeshift weights in there, man. Dudes would get on the bed, the loose bed in the pod, and dudes sit on it. We bench press, do little dips off of the table, push-ups all day long, every day. Just trying to get prepared, man, because you ain't know what was to come, So I can remember, man, after my sentencing and stuff, man, just waiting now to go to prison is a given that you're going. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no getting around that. That's where you're going. And, man, I can see dudes in the block trying to do everything to get out of going to prison, everything to get out of their charge, man. They're in there manufacturing stories and lies and trying to get information on other dudes' case so they can go testify on you to try to get their case cut short. And, man, it just was sickness in there, man. I remember I was in one block where the toilet was broke. And it had jagged edges at the bottom, like one of them marble toilets. But it had jagged edges at the bottom, in the whatever you call it, the towel or whatever was broke. And they supposed to come fix it, but they was taking their time coming and fix it. Man, I can remember one dude talking about, if somebody get hurt on there, man, that's a lawsuit. Man, he said that out loud. Next thing you know, dudes was plotting on trying to cut themselves on the toilet so they could scream a lawsuit just to get out of their case. And I can remember this one dude, man, he was crazy as I don't know what, man. He was talking about he wanted to cut his feet on there, and he was going to scream for a lawsuit because he was trying to get out of his case because he had been in prison before. He ain't trying to go again. He's stuck in a situation. He's trying to find a way out. I guess he thought that was his way out. I'm looking at this fool like he got to be crazy. I mean, it was jagged edges sticking from this joint. He wanted to take his feet off and just kick it and cut his feet open and holler a lawsuit. And I'm like, man, these cats is crazy. But he wanted to do it, but he didn't have the heart to do it because I guess he knew the pain that was going to come with it. So he was telling dudes, man, he just want to put his feet right there beside it, close his eyes. He wants somebody to kick his feet and do it because he didn't have the heart to do it. So he asked the dudes in the block, dudes looking at him like, oh, no, bro, I ain't getting involved with that woo-woo. But it was this one dude, he looking at him like, shh, man, I'll do it. Yeah, he said, all right, do it. So I'm looking, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was intrigued, so I'm looking myself. Man, that man went over there, kept putting his foot back there, he was trembling, closed his eyes, turned his head, because he didn't want to see it. Then he kept on saying, all right, now hold on. Because he was scared, he didn't know what to do. He wanted to do it, but he was scared. You could literally see him trembling. Shoot. He went to put it up there the next time, dude got so tired of him drawing it back. He said, all right, hold on, I'm gonna tell you when to go. He ain't even wait. He ain't even give him time. As soon as he put his feet right there, he just kicked it, man. And it slid his feet wide open, man. Probably like that. Blood just went everywhere. He started hollering and screaming like a baby, man. It just looked so nasty and crazy. Started hollering for the CO. And he just laid down in the floor, man. His whole leg was shaking, man. And I can remember looking at his feet like, oh, man. All of that just so he could try to get out that case. To try to, get a lawsuit and beat his case or whatever, hoping that the lawsuit would be so good that he just plea bargain and say, man, y'all dropped my case, I dropped the lawsuit. That's the way dudes thinking was in there after they done already put themselves in a bind, man. So that's a lesson to you right there, let you know how bad prison must already be, and he must already know, and they don't want to go back that much. You see what I'm saying? That they would take, and harm their own self, man, bring bodily harm to their own self to duck that situation. But I can just remember things like that happening in the jail, man. And like I said, it was setting my tone and my mind frame for the type of dudes I was going to be meeting in prison, the type of atmosphere was going to be. It just blew my mind to a certain extent. But like I say, once you in it, you in it. It ain't nothing you could do. All of the court dates have been exhausted, man. The best thing you can hope for is your appeals, but those going to be down the line. So you just got to lock your mind into what you got to do and when you got to do it. So once that was over, man, like I say, my sentencing and everything like that, you just be on the list for when you're going into prison. You don't know, but you know now that you're on the list. And the only thing you basically waiting for is for them to come around and tell you pack your stuff up. And when they come tell you pack your stuff up, You already know where you're going. You're going to prison because you ain't going home. You already been sentenced to a certain amount of time. That's what it is. Usually it might take a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even a month. It all depends on the individual or the circumstances. So I can remember when that happened for me, man. And I'm just waiting and waiting. You don't know where you're going, but you know, you do know it's gonna be your first introduction to prison, man. So your anticipation and your adrenaline is high. Every day you waking up and don't know what's gonna happen or when it's gonna happen, or is this your day that you going in or whatever. So that's just how it was for me. And I think with my situation, it might have took about maybe 2.5 weeks. And they came around, man, told me to bag up all my stuff, man. And I bagged up all my little property that I had. And, you know, my adrenaline flowing, man, my heart beating. I'm like, oh, man, this is it now. This, you know, it's going down. There ain't nothing I can do about it. Man, they came around, they got us. It was me and another dude. And they taking us, man. We in the car with 2 sheriffs. And we just riding. And we in the back seat, cuffed up, shackled up, whatever. It's 2 police in the front. And we don't know where we going. We trying to talk to them or whatever. We done asked them a couple of times, like, where we going, you know, what prison, you know. But they got the right to tell you if they want to. Some of them will tell you, some of them won't tell you. So they was playing all tight-lipped like they don't know, which is impossible because you driving. But we eventually pulled over to a store, a little convenience store. They go in, get something to eat. They don't supposed to do that at all. Left us in the car, handcuffed up, locked in the car there, and they're getting them little snacks or whatever. I guess so it can cut the time off, or you know, they'll pay what they getting paid to, you know, for transportation or whatever. They wasting time acting like, you know, they really, you know, it took that long or whatever. So I guess they can get that extra overtime or whatever, right? So when they come back in though, man, we kept on asking them, man, like, where we going, man? You could tell us, man, you know, it ain't no secret. We on our way now, right? So they eventually tell us we was going to Southampton, man. And, all the stuff we had heard about Southampton, man, was in the jail, man. You know, like I said, it had the nickname Gladiator School. We had heard a whole lot about that. And, you know, only thing you could do from that point on, man, is get mentally prepared, man. Mentally prepared to go up in there because you're going no matter what. So, you know, when we finally get there, you know, we get there, they take us in, man, you know, they drop us off, take us down this long corridor, some COs take over, uncuff us, take us in this back room. We get in the back room and they make us strip, you know, and old stuff like you see in the movies, man. They give us some lye stuff to put all over us. I think it was called lye, to make sure you ain't got like, you know, no diseases or nothing like this is supposed to cure it, or no, what you call it, lice, or what's them other things called, man? I forget the name of them, but they gave us all that stuff, man, made us shower, and, you know, then they started going through our property, man. That was the worst. I ain't, you know, really never, my whole bit, I never got over people going through my property, going through my stuff like it's nothing, you know, when it was everything to me. But that's what they did. Made a store with a lot of pictures, any type of personal pictures you had, any type of pictures you had with any type of nudity or any type of like bathing suits type stuff, they was throwing it away. I was so mad, man. I ain't know what to do, but I know I'm just getting there. I'm trying to hold my temper in, but I'm filming, you know. Then when they finish all of that, they give us little pamphlets, little books, supposed to be rule books or whatnot, about what they expect, what they don't expect. Then they start telling us where we going. And they started walking us out, you know. Dude was going one spot, I was going another spot. So they walking us down there, they give us bed linen, pillows, and all of that stuff. So we walk in, and then when we entered the hallway to go down to the block that I was going to, we was walking down the block, and I'm just walking, carrying all this stuff with the COs and everything. And I started seeing, you know, inmates walking, you know, around back and forth. And then I see somebody come out and they walking and they got jean cut off shorts, and when they came around the corner and bent the corner, they looked down for a second and turned and looked back. They had long hair, had breasts, and had shorts on. So the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, man, they got women in here? Yeah, I knew I had arrived in prison, man. I was like one of the first, I guess you would call it, transgender person I seen in prison. And that was right there in receiving. It was like one of the first person I seen. I'd only seen a couple of other inmates walking by. So that was crazy, you know what I'm saying? I was processing all of that and then trying to take in all of my other surroundings of what was going on. He walked me through the corridor, man. He took me down to this block, and we went down on the block, man, and I was like in the third cell on the left. He popped the door, told me this is my cell, you know, told me what bunk I was on. I go in, you know, my cellie is already in there. I end up meeting my cellie. Turned out to be a cool dude. He was an alright dude, man. He was a well-known dude out of Richmond and everything, and I think they called him Becky. He was a well-known dude out there in Richmond. He was a little small dude, but he was a big-time drug dealer out on the street, you know, and he was my cellie. He was my cellie, my first cellie in receiving. We ended up kicking it. He telling me a lot about Richmond. I was telling him a lot about D.C. We didn't talk too much about our cases. But later on, I had found out, you know, like I say, he was a big-time drug dealer in Richmond, and he was involved with a whole lot of stuff that was going on and went on out there. But he was supposed to be the ringleader of the situation. So, you know, we just chopped it up, man. And he was trying to tell me how it was. I think he had just been there about maybe close to a month before I got there. So he was just telling me how they run rec, when they run the showers, how they run the food, when we eat, all this, just little different stuff. And, you know, the dudes that was on the block, the dynamics of the dudes or whatnot. So just like, you know, I'm just getting in prison, so I don't really know nothing. I'm just keeping my eyes open and keeping my ears open so I can learn as I go. But in my mind, I'm already setting my own rules and regulations about how I'm going to do this time. You know, because like I say, I got to do it. It ain't no way around it. So, you know, I can remember, man, when we first came out, you know, I first came out. After that, we went to the day room. They be in the day room. It's a big old room with a whole lot of chairs and whatnot. They got TVs up there. Dudes sitting around talking, joking on each other, watching TV, talking about rec when we go out. You know, what they going to do, play ball, lift weights, whatever. I'm like just sucking it all in, man. A couple of dudes try to holler at me, you know, because he introduced me as his cell partner, whatever. I spoke, kept it moving. But you know, as I stayed there, which I didn't end up, you know, staying long because I told y'all I had that situation win in another video, which I'll probably have to get to again in this video. But I did eventually, a couple of dudes that I met in that little time I was in that receiving right there was, end up running into years and years later, and I ended up was cool with a couple of them dudes. Dude named Gordon, I ended up being cool with him. A dude named Doom, I knew him later on down the line. Couple of dude named Tony Bowman. He was a real cool dude, man. Real tall dude, played basketball. Unfortunately, he did his time, you know, about 18, 20 years. Ended up getting out, man. It was in a horrific car accident, man, with his whole family. Lost him and his whole family at the same time, man. And I remember being in prison and somebody sent me that newspaper clipping, man. It was horrible, you know, but yeah, a couple of dudes I end up meeting in there that I end up, you know, having long-term, you know, friendships with or associations with. There was just, you know, all right people, and he was one of them. But yeah, man, I tried to get into my routine. We went outside, you know, I started lifting weights because I started lifting weights when I was in the jail. You know, we was makeshift weights and all that, lifting weights. I was trying to put some size on. I was a little cat, man. So I started lifting weights, man. I played a little ball. You know, I tried to stay away from the basketball at that point on that camp because those dudes, man, was young, as was I. But every time I seen the basketball court, man, there was always a fight break out on there. And I really wasn't looking for no trouble. I wasn't trying to get into nothing. I was trying to get to where I was going, try to get in my routine, try to get myself together, try to get an understanding, get a grip on what I had to do and how I had to do it. So I was just taking everything in as a learning process, man. Now, I do remember Southampton. The food, man, on there was probably, man, that was probably the best food, you know, that I ate on the institution in my whole entire bit. I never got food like that again from Southampton receiving that I got, you know, on other institutions. Man, they fed real good on there considering it was a penitentiary. breakfast, man, they were serving bacon, eggs, pancakes, sausages, orange juice, biscuits, and the jail was nothing like that. So I'm thinking in my mind, this is how food gonna be in prison. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, this is good food. Lunchtime they were serving big slices of pizza, cover the whole tray up, give you 2 pizzas, juice. They had hot sauce on the table, vinegar on the table, salt and pepper. We get dinner, man. We might get a hot dog and a hamburger, French fries, a cheeseburger. It was crazy. So I'm like, okay, well, the food ain't as bad as they say it was in prison. Little did I know, I would never, ever see that again, But I guess, for whatever reason they was doing it in Southampton, I guess because it was a receiving center and a lot of big hats come there, meaning like people from the administration, big wigs, people that was running the Virginia penal system. So when they came there or they brought visitors and stuff there, I guess they had to impress. They had to have a menu. They had to show the menu, show how they was feeding us, which was all falsehood because that's not what they do in all the prisons. But I guess they was trying to let that be known or put out the illusion that this is how they feed in prison, period, that, we eating so good or whatnot. But trust me when I tell you, that was the best that I ever ate the whole time I was in prison as far as, with the administration food. But that was one of the main things I remember about that, man, about Southampton. And like I said, the cells were more so like, it was later on in my bid I understood that the cells on Southampton receiving was more like segregation cells because they had the door, and the little rooms, the double bunks. The cells was so small, the little window that you look out of, it was small as I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? So, you in close quarters with somebody at all times. Even when you was in the jail, you had your own cell. Now you in the cell with somebody else, so you got to adapt to that dynamic. Somebody else being in there with you at all times. They may have to use the sink when you do. They may have to use the bathroom when you do. You got to be hearing them use the bathroom, either number 1 or number 2, and then you got to smell it, and it just was different, And I can remember thinking in my mind, man, good Lord, this is gonna be rough, because that was one thing that I used to my benefit was when I had my solitude, when I was by myself, when I could think, try to process my position, try to process my situation and how I was gonna go about this. And at that time, I was still thinking about appeals and trying to get a sentence reduction or something that I did not, had to do this time. You see what I'm saying? But it was all in vain, man, because like I say, we already know what I eventually end up doing. But at that time, that's how your mind is thinking. You know what I'm saying? You just feel like you've been done, wrong, or you got, so much time over sentence. And I was fed so many lies. I was told, by my lawyer that, I'm a first-time offender. I'll be going up in 12 years. I might end up getting out because all I got to do is keep my nose clean. And, that's what they do, first-time offenders. In my entire bit, I barely met, man, I probably met less than 2 or 3 people that made first parole, or there was, first-time offenders and ended up making first parole. Less than 2 or 3 people. And probably 2 of them I heard of, only 1 that I really knew of. So I don't even know if the other 2 was actually true, you know what I'm saying? But that was just, falsehood all the way around the board, even, committed by my lawyer. But like I say, it's a learning process, and you pay for what you don't know. You pay for what you don't know, and you pay the price for it. And I did, like I said, I didn't even go for parole till after I was locked up for 18 years, so all of that was phony, and I definitely didn't make it. But, like I said, I was processing all this information, trying to get a grip, trying to understand what was going on, and I'm seeing the dudes, the way they move, and some dudes, man, they seem like, they didn't have a care in the world. You know what I'm saying? They laughed, they joked on each other, they ran out there to play basketball, they talked trash, they was just, and later on, in retrospect, I look back, most of them dudes have been locked up before. Most of them dudes had been locked up since they was juveniles. Most of them dudes was repeat offenders, and they knew what they was facing, and they understood their circumstances, and they had already come to grips with how to deal with it. They had already come to grips with how to do time or what the process was. I wasn't even in that position. You know, it seemed like me, I was just like either upset or mad all the time, you know, because of my situation, because of what I knew I had to do. So it was different for me, man. You know, like I say, my cellie, he was all right. I talked to him because he was in the cell with me. But at the same time, I didn't, you know, all the way open up, loosen up with him, tell him certain things, you know, that I didn't, you know, because I didn't feel like I knew him that well. I felt like I was getting to know him, and I felt like he was a good dude. But at the same time, he told me more things about his life than I did about mine. So, man, I remember, like I say, rec. We used to go to rec, and they used to line up, and I was going out for rec all the time then, trying to work out, trying to get in shape, trying to shadow box and, you know, lift weights too, put a little bulk, put a little size on. So I ran the rec every time they had rec. And like I say, we'd get in them lines to go to rec, man, and already you could see the drama because you had a lot of little young dudes in there. They was playing a lot of little games. Man, dudes used to, crazy games too. Dudes used to get behind dudes, man, with razor blades that they had broke out of the shaving razor and walk up behind dudes, man, and just slit them on the back of the arm and turn around and act like they didn't do it. And a razor blade will make a slit on you so fine that you might not even know you've been cut until you feel the blood. So you just might feel a little sting or something. They was doing stuff like that, cutting dudes' state coats open, getting straws, man, shooting spitballs in the back of dudes' heads. I mean, all types of foolishness. And I had locked it in my mind already, you know, just seeing the stuff and seeing the dynamics of how people move. Man, I said, one of them jokers tried that with me, I was going to lay them out. Off the rip, I was going to just let them know where I was coming from. I was going to lay them out, you know. But that's the type of things that they was playing in there. That's the type of games they was playing when we went out for rec. Dudes was running over top of each other, airborne each other, trying to get to the rec yard first so they can get a run on the basketball court, trying to get to the weight pile first so they can get the weights. It just was pure chaos, man, pure chaos. When we be sitting in the day room, watching TV, watching movies, whatever it was we was watching, it seemed like no matter what, somebody always end up breaking out in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude like this team, this last dude like that team, they get to arguing about it, they get up, they get to scrapping. As soon as they get to scrapping, then their homeboys jump in, and then their friends jump in. Then you have big melees all the time up in there. Then they just lock us down, send us back to the cell after they lock everybody up that was involved in situations. So like I say, I was starting to see the chaos. I was starting to experience it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? When we showered on Southampton receiving, you showered together. It's like, man, maybe 12 shower heads in there. So it's like 12 dudes at a time, all in the shower. You got a certain amount of time to take the shower. You got the officer standing outside with the towels and the washcloth. For when you come out, they give you your clothes. They give you socks, towels, washcloth, underwear, whatever. But you in the shower naked with 11 other dudes. Something I won't used to. You in there with 11 other dudes, man. They in there talking and chatting it up like it's crazy. Only time I had been in a shower like that with other guys was, in high school playing sports or whatnot, football or whatever, right? But it ain't nothing that you really get used to, but when you in these type of environments, a violent environment or different type of environment outside of sports, it just seemed different. You know what I'm saying? You had dudes in there carrying on conversations in the shower, buck naked, like they was talking on the corner or something, like it, you know what I'm saying, there wasn't nothing to it. So like I say, all of these was, things that I had to adapt to, I had to get used to, I had to understand that this is how prison is, this is the life. The police on there on Southampton, man, they really won't like going hard, coming at you with a whole bunch of crazy stuff yet. At the beginning of my bid, they wasn't doing that on Southampton because I guess they knew they had a bunch of little young fools on their hand, and these dudes would fight the police at the drop of a dime. It ain't even, it was of no consequences to them. So I guess that kind of kept them at bay and kept them with a cordial type of attitude. Only time they talked tough was when they had a whole lot of people and they was coming to get you, lock you up for something or whatever, right? I was adjusting though, man. I was trying my best, man. And the best part about it all was visitation, man. Visitation, man. When you could get that visitation and you could see somebody that you knew actually loved you, actually cared about you, actually was concerned about your well-being, that made everything, man, easier transition for the week. Because you will hold on to that, you know, in your heart, in your mind, in your memory, and that will carry you through the week until you hope you get another visit the following week, you know. And at the time, I was getting visits, you know. I got visits on both days, the Saturday and the Sunday. They was doing that then. You know, later on, right before I left prison, you couldn't even get visits on both days anymore. They cut that to one day, you know. So that was just different right there. But back then, you could get visits on both days, man. Southampton receiving was cool. I think when I was there, it may have been a wall, but I think I was there. Your people could actually purchase you some stuff out of the vending machine that you was able to take back with you. Sometimes they was able to bring one meal, a home-cooked meal or something like that. It just was different. And all of that changed later on in the years when I got in my bit. But at this time, you know, like my early days in Southampton and the wall and all of that, I can remember those things happening, man. So it was different right there like that. And in Southampton, like I say, them visits, man, they didn't have a time frame on them. Like eventually they ended up putting a time frame on the visit where you couldn't have a visit no more than an hour. Back then, your people could come in the morning. If they get there at 8 o'clock when the visiting room opened and if it closed at 2 or 3, if they chose to, they could stay all day. You know, they eventually cut that out too. So, you know, like I say, a lot of changes came within the system from me leaving Southampton. A whole lot of changes, man. But Southampton was my first stop in prison. And my stop didn't last there long, you know, as I told y'all. But, you know, while I was there, it was a learning process. And it was things that I was processing in my mind that I knew or that I had to know. And I had to set the tone and set the pace of what was to come. I didn't really get into no real altercations, you know, when I was on there. Might have had a word or two with a dude on the basketball court, you know, or over the waist or something, but it was never nothing serious. But whenever I spoke, I tried to make myself emphatic, you know, clear. I wasn't going for nothing. If you want some rent, man, you know, that's what it was. You know, we can get it in. And you know, for the most part, like I say, I was little, but I was still me, and I was still aggressive, and I still had the look and the tone of my voice, letting the dude know that, you know, like I say, I wasn't worried about whatever. You know what I'm saying? You human just like I'm human. You know, come on with it. And that, you know what I'm saying, earned me respect, man. You know, and dudes ain't know me. Like a lot of dudes in there, they knew each other because they grew up with each other. They've been through juvenile system with each other. They homeboys. They come from the same neighborhood. They come from the same block. So a lot of people was affiliated in there that knew each other. I was different. I didn't know nobody in there, not one soul. It was not no person in there that I knew. Only person that I could ever recall seeing before was a dude that came from the jail with me. And I think I saw like 2 or 3 other dudes that had been in the jail that I was in who had left before me. So other than that, I didn't know anybody. Everybody I knew I was meeting on the fly. That was the first time me meeting them. So, you know, I just rolled with the punches, man, and took it day by day. Most of the people that I met was my Sally Becky people, you know what I'm saying? So that was all right, man. And then Becky eventually got moved. He went to whatever prison that he was going to. And it wasn't even long. He wasn't even my Sally long, man. And he eventually got moved. And then they ended up putting a white dude in the cell with me. The white dude that they put in the cell with me, man, man, I was young, man. Like I say, I guess with Southampton, I probably was 20, give me a turn 21 or 21, somewhere up in that range. This cat was like 19. He was a white dude, man. He was scared to death. He was kind of like goofy. And, man, the dudes used to pick on him and talk trash to him. I tried to tell him the little things that I knew, you know, when I first met him, you know what I'm saying, of what was going on, how the system was, but I hadn't even been there that long. But I could tell in his voice, I could tell in his demeanor, he was petrified, he was scared to death. And he had a little time that he had to go do. I don't know exactly how much it was, but I do know, like I say, he was scared. And the dudes fed off of that. They seen he was scared. They used to talk crazy to him, man, tell him all these horror stories, man, that wreck about how when he get in prison, man, they gonna rape him, man, they gonna beat him, they gonna rob him. And that just scared him even more because he used to come back to the cell and be telling me what dudes told him and trying to get some, consoling from me. I'm telling him that, you got to be your own man when you go into prison. Can't none of these things happen to you if you don't allow them to happen to you. You got to be willing to do whatever you got to do to make sure none of these things don't happen to you. So don't worry about what nobody say. You just got to, stand up on your own 2 feet, man. You'll be all right. I could tell in his demeanor, I could tell in the way he talked, he didn't believe that. He just was scary, And then when we started coming off a wreck, dudes used to, pluck him on the ears and throw, little paper balls at the back of his head, and then he just say stop, and he just acted too, meek-like for people to respect him. And then he was my cellie, but this is my first cellie. I'm not trying to get in nobody's business because I don't want nobody in my business. Only thing I had to do was listen to him every time he come in the cell trying to tell me. I think he was trying to recruit me to be his enforcer. But being that I'm just coming in here, man, I'm not looking for no drama at all, let alone taking on somebody else's problems. I had enough problems of my own. I just used to try to encourage him verbally while I was in there. And I was telling him, man, stand up for yourself, man. Fight, man. If you had to fight, you got to rumble. But you got to let the tone be set, man, that you this is your cutoff line. This is what you going for. This is what you ain't going for. These dudes is using you as a joke, and they playing with you because they can see you timid. They can see you scared. You got to act like a man, because you in a man place right now. And I used to give him those type of little speeches, and I was talking to him, and I felt sorry for him, man. I really did want to, say something to, the cats, because I could see the cats, they were just doing what they could do because someone was letting them do it. And I could tell the way they used to look at me when they started picking with him. If they saw me anywhere within eyesight, they'd give me the little eye, like look at me to see if I had anything to do with it. But I always just gave them a straight stare, like, you do what you want to do, just don't bring it over here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it was crazy because, like I said, it was a young atmosphere. It was young dudes. They were out of control. They fought in a week time, man. In a week time on Southampton, and I was just in receiving. You might get literally about 15 fights. 15 fights or better. And 9 times out of 10, when they get to fighting, it's going to be a group fight because all the homeboys going to jump in. The dudes is from your neighborhood going to jump in, and it's going to get into a melee. This dude got his homeboys. This dude got his homeboys. And next thing you know, everybody out there is rumbling. You know what I'm saying? So I was, this is my introduction, man. So I'm taking all of this in. You know what I'm saying? I'm processing all of this. I'm saying to myself, okay, I know how it's going down. If it go down, and if it ever go down with me, I got to make a statement, man. I got to make it be known that I ain't going to be played with. I ain't going to be, toyed with. Ain't nobody taking nothing from me. Ain't nobody doing nothing to me. That was just my mentality that I was forming at the time. And like I told y'all in the previous show, the one wasn't even long, man. We was lined up to go out for rec, and I can remember, man, either they was throwing something at this dude or even shooting spitballs at this dude that was right in front of me, But they was avoiding me, making sure they got him. He was an Italian dude. And, man, he kept on turning around, and he kept looking at me because I'm right behind him. But he kept turning around, and he kept saying little slick stuff like, man, y'all better cut it out, man. Y'all better quit. Woo, little profanities or whatever, like he wasn't scared. And, man, they persisted and kept on messing with him, man. And next thing you know, this chump turned around and punched me, Man, that was the worst thing he could have possibly did. I tried to beat the brakes off of him. I just tried to beat the brakes off of him because, like I said, it was my first encounter with physical, confrontation. And I wanted to make sure everybody who was watching and everybody who knew that I wasn't going for nothing. And like I say, I felt sorry for him because I know he picked the wrong dude. He really picked the wrong dude. But at the same time, he still punched me. So he get what he got. He may have knew it wasn't me because he just ain't want to confront them dudes because he knew it was more than one of them. So, man, yeah, so I ended up, man, punishing them, man. And they came and they jumped all on me and balled me all up and take me back there, locked me up. And next thing you know, man, I guess with my charges and the time that I had on me, I talked to the captain briefly. The dude that told him some foolishness, like I was the one who was spitting stuff in the back of his head, hitting him in the head with stuff, and he turned around and, I punched him, we got to fighting or whatever. So evidently they believe that and try to, put all the blame on me like I'm some type of dude that's coming in here on some other stuff, like I'm going to be a troublemaker, this, that, and the third. Man, I told the brother, I said, look, I ain't do nothing but defend myself, man. I don't know what he told you. That's all I know is I just defended myself, and that's it. So I guess he felt like I was trying to be hard and ain't want to, talk or whatever. Man, them people put some paperwork in, man, and before you know it, man, they was getting me up off of that joint, telling me that I'm getting transferred. I'm like, what? So yeah, so I didn't even really finish my whole ride in Southampton because of an incident that ain't had nothing to do with me, but I ended up being, involved in a physical altercation, So I was looking back at it like I should have jumped on them too, because, or either told them don't do that around me, But like I say, everything at this point in time anyway was a learning experience. So I learned everything I learned in prison. I learned from experience. I went through something to get past something. And once I got past something, then I had knowledge and understanding of those things. But it won't like people was giving me the game or dropping knowledge on me while I was just fresh in prison. And I get here, and somebody tell me this, get here, somebody tell me that. Nah, people ain't gonna be telling you all of that stuff. They gonna let you fend for yourself because a lot of them, they done went through it themselves. So they feel like, well, yeah, he got to earn his own stripes. So he got to learn this stuff on his own. So it was a crazy situation, man. And, my first couple of years in prison, I was learning everything on the fly. And some things I messed up on, some things I fell in the pit on because I ain't know. But everything that I went through, like I say, I learned from it, I processed it, and I was able to run into those certain situations later on and knew how to handle it and did handle it. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, man, I was green as a pool table, man, 4 times square, man. So yeah, they got to dragging me and telling me I was leaving, I was going to prison, and I'm like, man, the first thing that came to my mind was my visits. I got used to my visits, man. I was getting visits on a regular weekend, and I was wanting to know about my visits. When I get transferred, my people gonna be able to come see me. Where am I going? How far is it gonna be away? Because you had all these different prisons, and you don't even know where you're going, and they don't tell you nothing. So in my mind, I'm like, man, this gonna mess everything up. My people might come up here this weekend, and I'm not here, and they're gonna have to tell them I got transferred. It's a wasted trip. All of these type scenarios is stuff that was going through my mind, man. And lo and behold, man, they come and they pack me up, man. They take me up out of there. I'm back in shackles, handcuffs, riding on this long bus ride, man. It's like about 7 people on the bus with us. We all going somewhere. When I'm on the bus talking to the fellas, they said, man, we going to the wall. You know what I'm saying? And I said, man, I was like, how you know that? Because I heard all the legendary stuff about the wall. So I'm like, how you know we going to the wall? Dude was like, man, shoot, that's where I'm going. I already been approved for a transfer. I've been waiting to go, so that's where we going. That's what this bus destination is. So that created a whole nother dynamics in my mind. I started thinking about the wall, all the horror stories I heard about the wall, all the killing, all the fights, all the stabbings, all the riots. And I'm like, these people is actually sending me here. You know what I'm saying? I'm young, I'm new in the system, I ain't even finished receiving, and these people get ready to drop me off in the lion's den. So, man, my mind was reeling a mile a minute, man. My heart was pumping. And, anybody who tell you who went through the same situations that I did tell you they weren't nervous or they weren't scared of the unknown, they lying. They lying. You always gonna be scared of the unknown. Not that you fear that you won't, do what you have to do when it comes time to do it. It's just the unknown. What am I gonna have to do and when am I gonna have to do it? Because one thing for certain, like I say, in prison, you're gonna have to prove yourself one way or another. It ain't no getting around it. It ain't the humblest guy, the nicest guy, the most religious guy. He gonna have confrontation because that's just the environment that you in. It breeds confrontation. It breeds chaos. You know what I'm saying? It breeds larceny. So people in there ain't got nothing and they trying to get something, and they always gonna try to prey on whoever they think is weak. And they're not going to be sentimental. Oh, this guy don't bother nobody. Oh, this guy go to church. Oh, this guy right here small. Oh, this guy, man, they don't care nothing about that. Nothing. So you have to have the same mentality that you don't care about nothing but your person and yourself. And you have to be willing to defend that at all costs against any opposition. So I'm formulating all this stuff in my mind, like, man, when I get to this place, man, I just got to lock in and I ain't going for nothing. All the things I heard ain't gonna happen to me because I ain't gonna let it happen to me, no matter what. If I had to die, kill, do whatever, that's just what's gonna happen. But certain things I'm not gonna allow to happen to me. And this is what I was thinking in my mind the whole time on the ride, the bus ride, man. The whole time up there, that's all I'm thinking in my mind. And then I'm thinking about my family, like, what are they gonna do? Because they didn't let me make a call. So I'm like, what are they gonna think? Why I left so early? What stories the prison gonna tell them, if any story? And man, I'm just in a daze, man. I'm in a daze, and it ain't even months and months. It's less than 6 months, less than 2 months. I was probably there less than 2 months, if that, maybe a month and some change, if that. And already I'm on my way to another prison. Not only am I on my way to another prison, I'm on my way to the worst, most notorious prison in the state of Virginia, and I'm fresh and new in the system, barely 21 years old and don't know anything. So, man, that's just a lot of pressure to be on your brain, man. Whole lot of pressure. And you just got to deal with it. You got to process it one way or another because, like I say, what has to be done has to be done. And, boy, I just remember that whole ride. I just dreaded what was ahead of me, what I was going to be facing, man. And that was the experience that I remember in my mind the most, about getting on that bus, man, and being told that we was going to the wall after leaving Southampton Receiving Center and not even being in there for a hot minute. So, the little experiences that I had on Southampton was few. The dudes I ended up meeting there, I knew 3, 4 of them years later for decades that was locked up with me. And, some of us was real cool, some of us was just okay and cordial. But I remember those dudes from my beginning of my bit in Southampton, man. And I just thought that, okay, this is how prison was going to be, just like the food, just like the lay of the institution, just like the cells, just like the COs. All of that is what I thought prison was going to be like, because this was my introduction. Nothing like that, man. Nothing like that. Nothing at all. When you hit that wall and you look up and you see that prison, it looked like an old dungeon, an old movie that you seen from like Count Dracula or something, and you knew, man, it just was gonna be different. And trust me, it was different. And but that was my introduction into prison, man. That was Southampton. That was the jail to Southampton. My first stops on this 33 years, of stops in prison, man, where I went to and where I got to. So, next stop, the wall. The famous wall. 500 Spring Street. Stay tuned. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm just going to try to walk y'all through this travels that I had while I was incarcerated in these 33 years, man, step by step, to the best of my memory. Just give y'all a little piece of philosophy on each one of them, a little piece of my experiences on each one of them, the atmosphere, the inmates, the whole thing, as much as I possibly can, man. So if y'all rocking with it, man, let me know in the comments. Hit me and let me know if y'all want me to continue this series and keep on going. I appreciate y'all out there for rocking with me, man. I love all of y'all. I hope y'all having a good 2022. We're going to have a good 2022, us, the TBB family. So let's go, man. Salute. Like these videos, share these videos. Go check me out on my other channel, Banky Pound, Pure Deliciousness, where we cooking over there. We whipping it up. We whipping it up. So come over there and join us, man. There's a movement right here. This TBP movement, man. If you on board, man, I appreciate you. I salute you. I'll see y'all next time, man. Be safe, be smart, make good decisions, man. Peace.
The Banky special. Yeah. Pure deliciousness. Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young.
I'm
coming out here after 30 years, yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.